Okay, let's get started on the next slide. So we've got a moving ball. Let's think about a player. So we want to think about getting a player to sort of like be on the screen and move about the place based upon maybe some key input. So let's just copy our draw ball. And rather than just drawing the ball, we want to draw a player. Of course, the player is going to be pretty much the same as the ball in the sense of size and stuff for now. So I'll just call this like, let's maybe make the player be blue. So the ball's green, the player's blue. Now, we don't want them to both have the same X and Y coordinates. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably do like a let player X equals, I don't know, 50. Yeah, 50. Let player Y equal to 50. Let player speed equal to 3 for now. So we now have like the player's X and Y coordinates and their speed. Maybe the player size as well. Again, it's going to equal 20, same as the same as score. So now when drawing the player, we'll put like player X and player Y here. And then we'll call it player size. Yeah, so that we've kind of refactored that, so we've drew a player. So now when we're rendering, we want to draw the ball, but we also want to draw player. So let's take a look at that. Oops, let's move this out of the way. Let's take a look at this. So refresh the page, and we have a player. We can't move him via any means specifically yet, but we have a player. It's rendering to the screen. So now updating the player, there's a couple of ways of approaching this. Now, first we're going to do like a naive, just a move player functionality that will be able to happen based upon movements using just the arrow keys. It will be a little bit clunky, but it will introduce us to the event listeners and things like that. So imagine I make a function called move player. So let's say function move player. This needs to kind of take in an event. So now the event, we're gonna, let's say, console.log events.keycode. So we can go and log out what's being pressed as such. Yeah. So let's go down here, and after our game loop starts, we're going to use our document, which is the whole page as such. And we're going to kind of tell it to add an event listener to the page. So document.add event listener. We need to tell it what type of event listener. For now, we'll just say keydown. So if we get a key down happening, then we move player. So it just runs the move player. And then whatever happens, whatever that key down is, it will kind of print, basically. So let's save that. Let's refresh the page again. Here's me pressing some keys. Of course, that's giving me numbers, which is great. But let's have a look. I'm pressing the up arrow. So the up arrow gives us what? That number. Down, left, right. So we've got 37, 38, 39, and 40. So 38 is the up arrow. So left is 37, up is 38, right is 39, and down is 40. So we kind of know what these numbers are. So we know that when we press the up arrow, we're expecting to get a 38. Yeah. So let's take a look at that in our actual code then. Let's say if, well, actually we can use a case statement. This is kind of like a bunch of if and else if sort of statements. So for now, let's just use switch, which is what we're going to use to get our cases from, which is going to be that event key code. So event dot key code. So now, based upon that, we need several different cases. So I'll say case. Let's do left arrow first. So case 37 would be left, wouldn't it? So if it's 37, let's say that's left. Yeah. What is it we want to do? We want to basically decrement the player X by player speed, don't we? Kind of moving its X, move it to the left. So let's actually do that. Let's say player X minus equals player speed. Okay. And then maybe we want another case, 38. And this case will be the right direction. If that's the case, we know we want kind of, actually no, 38 is going to be up, isn't it? Yeah, 38 is going to be up, not right. Left, up. Yeah, left and up. So that's going to be up. So 38 up. So now we want to go up, which is a negative in the Y direction. So player Y minus equals player speed. Then we go case 39. Yeah. This time it's going to be the right. In which case we want player X plus equals player speed. And then we got a case of 40, which is going to be literally the down. In which case player Y plus equals player speed. Okay. Now, we do need to add a break here because otherwise it'll just fall down and keep running these. It'll go, oh, that's true, so I'll just do this and whatever else comes after it. So we need to actually add a break for each of these. Otherwise, it just falls down and falls down. It'll do all of them, which makes no sense. You kind of stay in the same spot, really. And then we could add like a default as well, in which case some linters will moan at us if we don't have a default. But for now, we'll just leave it as it is. So let's save this. Let's do a quick clear of that and refresh the page. I'd say now I'm going down, I'm going to the right, I'm going up, I'm going left. I'd say it's a bit clunky. Also, if I try and go down and right, it kind of ignores, it kind of chews up that previous one. See, it's not very nice sort of, it's moving, but it's not a very nice sort of feel to it. I can't really go in two different directions at the same time, so I can't do a diagonal. And it's very, very clunky and doesn't feel very nice, does it? But that's using key codes. That's great. But we can do better. We can do better than this. We can kind of think of another way. So what we could do is we could kind of just do a bunch of if conditions. And we can kind of, instead of just doing just a key down, we also want kind of a key up. So whenever it's released as well. So my process is going to be a little bit different from move player. So this was our first attempt. I'll call this old move player for now. This is our old way, how we would have done it, right? Now, the next way I want to do it, I want to have some sort of like a map of keys that kind of says, hey, this one's being pressed, this one's being pressed, and this one's being pressed. So we can kind of keep track of however many are being pressed at the time. So to do this, I'm just going to make a new little object up here called keys. We'll say const keys equals nice little empty object. This will have like key value pairs. So it's going to have like, imagine it's got the key, I don't know, let's imagine this was a key up. True. And that's true when it's being pressed and false when it's not being pressed. And then maybe it's got down and left and right and whatever else you're pressing. So that's going to store those things, right? That's the first component to our better use of keys. The next thing is we're going to want to be able to set that to true or false depending upon what gets pressed. So we can still use kind of a similar thing to what we're doing here, but instead of move player, we're going to make our own little construct here. Yeah. So this time we're going to take in the event. We're going to make a little anonymous arrow function. And inside this function, we'll put our functionality. So what we'll say is we want to set our keys at the key of event.key equal to true. So whenever we're pressing down on the key, it adds a new entry in our keys object with the name of the key being the actual sort of like the reference, and true saying, yeah, that's being pressed. Then if we release it, so we want kind of a key up event as well. So if I copy and paste this event here, and instead of key down, key up happens when we let go of the key. And we still want the same sort of functionality, but we want it to set it to false. So now we have these things that we can look at and logic and stuff that we can see. So if I do my update and just go console.log keys, we can take a look at what they look like. So I'm going to cancel all that out, and I'm going to refresh the page. See, keys are just constantly being printed. It's kind of empty at the moment. But if I start pressing up, down, left, right, it starts building that different object. It's building up these key value pairs. Look, I've got false on some of these, but now if I press up, notice that's true. I'll let go of up, and it's false. Press left, and that one's true. And let go. Press right, that one's true. Press down, that one's true. So it kind of keeps check of all of those keys that have been pressed. I don't want it to be like printing every time. I was just like to show a general idea of it. But I do want to be able to somehow move the player about based on that. So similar sort of concept. We're gonna need to have a move player. We'll say function move player. Okay. This one doesn't need to take an event because the event's already existing and everything. So now we'll say if keys at the kind of the index or key of arrow left. If that is true, then we want to do something. Let's say console.log left. Okay. And we want move player to happen during the update. So what we'll do is we'll do that move player. Now if I refresh the page, we're not printing those, but if I press down, nothing happens. Up, left, left is happening. Look, it's printing left. Nothing happens when I do up or down or right, but left gets printed. So if we do this, and then we say, well, hang on, else, and do the same, kind of go, okay, else, give this. So let's copy that. Now instead of left, let's say right. Yeah. And instead of printing left, we'll print right. Let's get rid of that last else. Save that. Let's refresh again. left, right, left, right. See? Now, if I want to go left and up or left and down, we need to kind of deal with that. Yeah. So let's deal with left and up. So we know if that, we can do an and. So both are being pressed at the same time. Keys. Was it arrow up? So both up and left are being pressed at the same time. We can deal with that. Yeah. So let's think about left and down. So we kind of want to deal with these parts here. So I'm going to get rid of that right for a minute and kind of do them in order. I'm going to use left and up, left and down. So now we're kind of dealing with multiples. So we want to be able to do two different directions at a time, right? And let's press that again. Now let's do the right and up. Oh, this one's left up, left down, right up, down. Kind of get these different sort of areas. We get our multiples done. Yeah. Once we've dealt with all the multiples, we can just do those singulars on their own, sort of thing as well. Which again, I'll just do this. Yeah. Right. Up. Down. So now that we've got one, our left up, left down, right up, right down. Now I just want our left, so I can get rid of that. I want our right, so I'm going to kind of get rid of that and change that to be right. Then we can get rid of that one. That up. We'll get rid of that one again. And then rename that to down. Let's see, we've got our left up, left down, right up, right down, left, right, up, and down. So we've got all of these possibilities, but let's right down, left, right, up, down. Let's clear our thing, refresh. Oh, I think I've gone and added an extra closing brace somewhere. Oh, because I've got an extra else, sorry. Downside to copy paste. Right, let's refresh that again. So now, up, down, left, right, up with left, up with right, down with left, down with right. Sorry, down with right, down with left. So it looks like we're able to kind of mix and match the different directions. So we can go in all 6 directions. So we're not kind of jittery and kind of messing about too much. We still need to render it now, though. We kind of need to update the player's actual directions now. Yeah. So let's take a look. Up and left. So if we want to go up and left at the same time, we need to do a minus on both X and Y. Let's do that. So we'll say player X minus equals player speed. But also player Y minus equals player speed. Okay, so that's the up left. So if I refresh this page, so go back to the console, refresh the page. If I go left, it does nothing. Go up, it does nothing. Down, right. But if I go up left, it goes up left. So now, up right. So for this, we still want to do a similar thing. We want the X and Y. Yeah. But what we want to do is up is, let's have a look. X is the up, isn't it? It's been a while. Let's try this. I'll put a plus there. We'll find out in a minute. Save that. Let's refresh this. Yeah, so that's right. So basically the X is still going up. The Y is now going in the opposite direction. Yeah. So not up, left and down. Right. So this is left, right. So it's going left. This is the part that's making it go down. So now we need to think about the right arrow. So now we need the right arrow being this turning into a plus. Then for the right arrow down, we need both of them to be pluses. I'll just change both of these to pluses. Only the left, and it means that we've got to do a minus in the X. And only the right means that we do a plus in the X. Let's take a look at what we've got so far. We're missing a few, but let's get there. Start again. Left, right, up, down doesn't, but up and left does. Down and right, down and left, up and right. So all except for down on its own seems to, up and down on their own don't seem to work. So now we've got to deal with the Y. So now we want to do player, right, type, player Y minus equals player speed. I'll go up, and then down is player Y plus equals player speed. It's a lot of if conditions. So if I refresh this though, up, down, left, right, down and right, down and left, up and right, up and left. So I can kind of just move about in whatever place I want. If I want to up the speed, then I can go up the top and choose what speed I want my player to be. So let's say I wanted my player speed to be 4 instead, which means he's a bit faster than the actual ball. Flying around the place like crazy, man. Ooh. Yep. So that seems a little bit more fluid than the other one. But again, we can just play about with the speeds and do stuff later on as we go. By 2. Right. See? So you can just sort of play with the speeds and stuff. But in general, the thing that allows this to work is the fact that we have these and parts here. Yeah. And this allows us to have almost any key choice. Do you know what I mean? We now have access to all of the keys to build up this sort of map of different keys. So it kind of gives us a little bit more functionality available, and we can just change and play about with what we want to use the keys for. Right, so I think that's enough. It was quite a long one. That was, I think, because I kind of did a generic rudimentary sort of key down move thing, and then we kind of moved on to having a slightly more robust one that can go in different directions. So hopefully that was okay. And like I say, these add event listeners, you have all sorts. You have click listeners, you have keys up, keys down, mouse move. There's so many different things we can add to this later if you want. But as we are moving forward, this seems to be a fairly straightforward thing. Again, this is slightly redundant code. This could go. I'm leaving it there for brevity, just so it's there. But in general, that's the idea there. Okay, I'll see you in the next one.